We have a battle, an anime battle. We got Prime Yamamoto, not Old Man Yama, but Prime Yamamoto versus Ichibei Hosue. Right? Let's get into it. Right? Ichibei was basically the first Soul Reaper. You could think about him like that. He's the one who really gave names to all the shit. Um, all of it, like the Zanpakuto, their names, like the names of that shit, and then like each Zanpakuto's name. Not just that though, the captain's cloaks and all that shit. He named all the stuff, and then the Seirete, he gave names to all that because names hold power and they have weight, right? And he knows about that. That's what his like power is, like Zanpakuto. Ichimonji and Shirafune, whatever. Ichimonji is Bankai. That's what it's all about. Rewriting shit, redefining, who your existence essentially. Giving you a new name if need be. That's why it's a tough battle for this man Yamamoto. And Yamamoto, I said Prime Yamamoto. So Prime Yamamoto, what did he do? He took down the Quincy's. In the past, it wasn't like that. Like they ran through Yard's army. They ran through this man. You know, you all got burnt to the fucking core. Essentially, faint traces remained of him. He was like burnt to like a crisp. He didn't like. He remembered that Yamamoto. He didn't like how Yamamoto ran through his people like that. Um, and like burnt them all down and did that. And then eventually he became the head captain. But this Yamamoto, who was the head captain of these other 12 mercenaries during the time of the Thousand Year Blood War, like the first, or before the Thousand Year Blood War, the first war with the Quincy's, right? That Yamamoto versus Ichibei Hosue, right? Who wins this fight? Strength, physical strength, I'm actually giving that shit to Yamamoto. And I ain't saying that Ichibei is weak. I just think physically wise, striking power, lifting power is a little bit in Yama's favor. But if you have Ichibei, I ain't gonna, hate it. That one's actually close. Speed, I give that to Yama. I don't give that to Ichibei. It's pretty obvious he's fast. Durability, I give that to Ichibei. Ichibei's, a tough man. He's bulky, he's big, he can take a couple hits, right? He's pretty damn durable. If he gets hit with like Ryujin Jaka's like flames, he's like not gonna burn like right away. He's gonna be standing in that fire for a little bit. He might even brush that shit off. Endurance wise, Ichibei has the endurance. And I'll say this too, y'all. You gotta understand, you Yama fans and shit. Um, Old man Yamamoto, right? We understood he was actually burning himself too, right? I hope you guys know that. Like, if he had, that's why when he attacks somebody, he attacks them like fast. He doesn't want the environment to be fucked with because of his bankai, but he also don't want his own self to be burnt to a fucking crisp. Now he has some flame control to where he like doesn't actually burn himself. And he has like mastery over his bankai. What I'm saying, but it's still in a long waited out fight. That shit don't really matter. He's gonna still be damaging himself. And Ichibei, he has answers to fire. He can he he dusted off one of Yuha's attacks that was like trying to burn him from the outside. He just brushed that shit off, boy. Intelligence goes to Yamamoto slightly because he knows how to lead a group of people and organize shit, right? Even back then when he was in his prime, range skills go to Ichibei. He has those hands. Boom, boom. He has the hands and the feet that can kick you like, I think it was like 400 kilometers in either direction. He sends you boom with this big ass hand, this big ass foot. You know, he can summon two hands and then, you know, smash you together. Um, Recoup, I give that to Ichibei. Ichibei was killed by Yuha, or almost killed by Yuha, but he came back. He recouped. Yeah, he ain't doing no recoup. Yamamoto's not doing no recoup. Not a young Yamamoto, not a old man Yamamoto. They ain't gonna recoup. They put it all in like offensive capabilities, but not all that other stuff. Like not the recoup stuff. Um, but the hacks go to Ichibei. You know, like his Bankai is I think it's like Shirafune, something rather, Ichimonji. So this Bankai, he can, like I said, he can redefine your existence is what it is. He blackens you and then he gives you a new name. He uses black ink. He pours that shit over you. He uses, brush strokes and he's like, now your name is, and this is what he's going to do to Yamamoto. He'll do it just like this, y'all. He'll pour the ink on his body. He'll be blackened out. And then he's like, with this new canvas and the new creature or being I'm creating, you're not Shikikuni Genryusai Yamamoto anymore. You are now a firefly. Get it? Because Yamamoto is a fire guy. He's a guy who uses flame abilities. But now that he's redefined, he's the firefly now. And that's the type of shit that he's gonna do in this fight, man. Like it's cool that he has the fire and he's hot as the sun and all that shit. And he's gonna explain it to him. He's gonna be like, damn, I'm hot, I'm burning up. He's gonna be, affected by this shit a little bit. He will be, I think. That's why I got this shit being, fought in the Serite, so Yamamoto has, familiar ground. But even with that, Ichibei wins high difficulty. High difficulty. Ichibei defeats Prime Yamamoto. High difficulty. He was the strongest Soul Reaper out of the regular Soul Reapers, but the Royal Guard is something else, man. Be cool, calm corner, and let me know what you think about this fight in the comments. Prime Yama versus Ichibei. I got Ichibei winning that shit high difficulty. Be cool, calm corner, let me know what you think about it.